Got lots of love, love. 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 Got lots of love, love.
Carpe diem. Carpe diem.
Hey, yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yo. Cash and the ticket is yours. Yours.
Good evening, everybody, and oh my goodness. Hi, I'm in focus now, I think. Welcome back to some more CGL action. We've got a banger of a match in our NAPC Open Tier Losers Finals. We've got Yikes. We've got YSL trying to punch their ticket back to the Grand Finals. I am joined tonight by To Try Hard Ray. And, you know, Ray, I think we're in for a pretty good match here.
Yeah, these two teams full of talent. Can't wait to see who's going to punch their ticket to the Grand Finals. YSL just coming off a 5-map banger against Bonsai Buddies, who are awaiting them in the Grand Finals. So let's talk about some rosters. We're going to pull up the roster. Map pick was YSL's map pick, and they have chosen to take us to the snow tops of Nepal.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those maps where I think Sigma is probably the best pick. But you could see other stuff. I have seen the Orisa come out quite a lot. I don't really expect too much different from these teams, but, you know, just because they are at the highest level and that is the meta. But yeah, I'm kind of expecting a Sigma poke brawl.
I think maybe if you go to Village, you might get, you know, maybe the Orisa coming out to play. But yeah, I think generally speaking, Sigma is going to be a lot of what is on the table. But I mean, I just can't wait to see these two teams get at it and clash. Loser will be going home. And I mean, we have seen from Yikes such a big run through the lower bracket. I mean, looking at it right now, they're 3 games through into the lower bracket, so they do not want this to end tonight. As YSL, this is their first trip to it.
Yeah, so I mean, Yikes, they made it to the you know, the winter semifinals, where they ended up losing to Bonzi Buddies in the same way YSL did, 3-2. They got knocked down, and now they've been on a run since they got knocked down, 3-2 both games that they played. But you know, it doesn't matter how you get there. It's the result, right? And they've managed to adverse through everything that they've been thrown. So you know, this is probably their biggest challenge yet. You know, in this tournament. And it's in the most important time, where if you lose, you're done. It's over. You can't go any further.
As it's exactly as you said, the pressure is at an all-time high. It's like the crock pot is turned up to high, as these teams are anxiously waiting to get into Nepal, as it's going to be another minute or two before we get you guys in there. but as you talked about, the amount of talent these two teams bring to the table, they are not gonna accept failure. They're both gonna be fighting very hard to move on to this grand finals and have a chance at that cash prize.
And I mean, you know, these two teams, obviously, I think our PC Open tier was probably our biggest.
Yeah, it
in
was.
terms of the amount of people. There were 4 groups. Both of these teams, they went undefeated in their groups in the regular season, as you would expect from two teams that are in the top 3. They haven't played each other, I don't think. I think that YSL had a pretty good time in that mid-season tournament. Yeah, they haven't played each other yet. And yikes, they got bounced in the first round of that mid-season tournament. So they're having a better time in this, postseason tournament. And yeah, I mean, look at this. These two teams. I want this match to be very, very good. I'm really, really hoping for a good match.
As we're not seeing much deviation from the norm on the side of Yikes. They're being extremely meta, playing that Sigma Brawl with the Mei, and then they're going to have manually play Sim, possibly go over to the Sojourn after TPing out, but that's very on the par for what we expect. For YSL, they're playing this other variation of dive that we've seen coming out in this meta, which is with the Doomfist. So if you're Yikes, you just got to be very careful of not allowing them to isolate you, because Zera can be extremely dangerous on this Echo.
Here we go. First fight. It's going to be on Shrine. Cyber antied up, has to play around the pillar, but Infected is going to punch and hit 3 people, knock them back, get that overhealth going, and Azra will start us out here with the pick on the Proto Venus, splashing that anti-grenade onto Jimmical, gonna take down the Lucio. Slater is going to take down Magic 8-Ball, but YSL is so far ahead in this fight right now that pick won't even matter. With Slater manually going down, they're just gonna choose to, stagger out Cyber a little bit. That will be YSL taking the first fight here, getting the first flip.
Yeah, I mean, the dive coming through very strong. The support duo between Magic 8-Ball and Z-Man, who's Venus in the lobby, is absolutely insane. Hit a huge and crucial anti-nade to set that team fight up win, and then just the combination between Infected and Zera being able to sync up all their damage, as we see Yikes having to make a composition swap. They're going to have Cyber go over to the Winston, completely swap over to the double flex support, and have Slater go over to the Tracer.
They are running their own dive now, and Infected is going to, try and put Cyber in their place, but manually is going to find a great early pick onto Azrif, but it's 2 for 2. Zera coming alive, taking down Cyber, taking down Jimmical. It is a 3v3 here for this point, for this fight, and they're gonna burn it down to Slater. Zera with 3 in the fight. Can they make it 4? Doesn't look like it will be so, but YSL, they stay alive despite losing 2 early. And yikes, they just gotta get out.
Yeah, that was all on the backs of Zera. They find Jimmical. It's starting to get more and more dangerous, and the dupe now comes out.
Yeah, they're not. YSL wants to assert their dominance on this team. The dupe on to the Winston from Zera, and they're going to be able to take down Proto, as this is not going to be very good for anybody. The 2 Primal Rages come out. The burn from Zera, and Cyber is worse for wear here. An 85% Slater is going to try to play for a touch, and Jimmical's in the middle, is in no man's land, but, I thought Slater was probably going to get picked out there, but, a great duel there onto Zera. Going to put Yikes ahead. They're going to take the flip, but it doesn't. It'll look like YSL's going to back up here.
Yeah, as Zera's forced to swap over to the Tracer to try and get back into this. The Nano comes on Infected.
Overclock used by manually. Can they find something? Punch into the wall. The interruption will not come through. It'll be a great punch by Infected. Track as the overclock from Azrif is going to come out as well, but Slater has been on a tear since switching over to the Tracer. 2 kills for Slater. Jimmical is able to put 8-Ball in the dirt in the break duel, and Infected and Zera, they're worse for wear. They're not going to be able to do anything.
It's going to take more from Yikes to have this crazy point flip, but they have the ultimates to be able to do it. They're going to have the Pulse Bomb from Slater coming up on Nano for Proto, and that can build Cyber's Primal Rage. YSL really relying on Infected, who's going to have this Meteor Strike online to make something happen.
Infected, you know, playing a little bit of that distraction role right now. Just saying, hey guys, look at me, come shoot at me, and you know, punch it across the point. Pulse bomb's gonna come out, it's gonna find nothing but shield there for Slater and Zira. Built up to one of their own with Cyber with this Primal Rage is going to send Magic Meatball careening. Oh wait. That's not who I expected to be careening off the map. There goes Magic Meatball. Infected somehow got sent off the map. Not who I expected, but Cyber with 3 going to be putting, I mean, on a clinic on this Winston right now, and they're at 90%.
Yeah, as they are just reaping around the corner. Are they going to be able to touch for YSL? No ultimates available for Yikes. Z-Man's getting very close to this nano to throw onto this point.
But Infected taking so much damage, going to finally get that nano boost, and Zera is able to find the pick onto manually. So without the Sojourn, that is so much damage gone from the side of Yikes. With Infected antied up and slept, you know, Yikes, they're just gonna be happy to focus on the up. They're gonna jump on the back line, but Cyber, they're not gonna be able to find anything, and Slater tried to get in there, and Infected just denied that with the Doomfist Gauntlet. 0 with 2 is probably going to put the punctuation on this point, and that will do it. YSL is going to take a Shrine, and Slater doesn't want to give it up, actually. They don't really have any supports, though. Slater just trying to keep this point alive. Zero takes down Slater, and Cyber not able to get back. There we go. YSL, now they take the first point.
Yeah, the clutch factor really coming in for YSL, getting that nano onto Infected and allowing all the focus to be on Infected, which allowed Zera to just go and pop off and go after those DPS, because the supports were just playing very safe and protecting each other. So it's really hard for Zera on the Tracer to go do anything with a Brig who can just swing at you. So they made the tactical decision, let's just go after the DPS, find the pick, and then they're able to snowball from there. But Yikes, they are looking really good on this Winston dive composition. I was curious to see if they were going to change that up coming into Village, which isn't as conducive to the dive, but they are still going to play as YSL is making the swap onto more of that Sigma brawl that we saw from Yikes on the previous map.
And Yikes, they just are going to say, hey, we see you up there, we don't want to deal with that. We're just going to go for the point. And Magic Meatball talking a little bit of that trash right now. You know, all in good fun for these two teams. But Yikes is going to take the position on the backside of the point. But YSL is actually on the point with Infected going in those hyper shoots. No pick comes through yet, but Cyber is below half HP. Not much is going to happen as Magic Meatball actually gets left here. No follow-up, unfortunately, for Yikes. That would have been a tragedy for YSL early in this fight as they take the first touch. What a shot from Zira, and what an anti from Rhoda. Unfortunately for Yikes, it doesn't matter. But the 5-man anti and Zira, it doesn't matter what this man plays. It's going to be 3 every fight.
Yeah, Zera's known for being an extremely flexible DPS player, but man, those shots they were hitting on the Hanzo, though, that was ridiculous, especially that flick shot on the Tracer. Crazy. And now you're going to be able to hold aggressive. They get Cyber down, and YSL just affords themselves all this space. I mean, they kind of wasted Dragons there, but you're in large and in charge at this point.
With Zero going down, I mean, it's going to be hard pressed for YSL to actually take a real fight here. That is a lot of damage that's gone. So they're going to put the pressure on the point for Yikes. Here is the nano boost on to Cyber. Venus anti up and will receive a fistful of Winston. And Cyber, I mean, that nano boost, so much value out of it. And they had to stop the rally, unfortunately. But they do end up getting the flip at 65%. Yikes, they take over.
So 2 key things coming out of that fight. Perota has been insane with these anti-nates and setting up a lot of these team fight wins for Yikes. Second of all, if you're YSL, you're feeling pretty good. You're able to get out that rally. So now you only have to deal with these incoming DPS ultimates, and Magic Meatball can do a lot with that sound beer available to him.
Here is the jump from a Cyber, and the Amp Matrix is useless for Venus. The Primal Rage to keep the Winston up, and I mean, what a play by Cyber to just completely eradicate Venus from the face of the planet.
Yeah, I think YSL knew that was coming. They knew the Cyber would be coming to that fight with the Primal. They kind of just had to take an L on that fight unless they found a pick early. And unfortunately they didn't, but you know, that's just the price of doing business. Zero throws the pulse bomb, doesn't find anything.
We're back, YSL on
This ends.
Fast already infected. They have the sound barrier, but manually infected is able to take down Cyber, but manually answers with 3 in kind. This is unstoppable. This is insanity. You would think YSL would take this fight with Cyber going down first, but manually takes over the game.
But that's actually huge. YSL stealing away about 10% from Yikes. That gives another opportunity for YSL to come into this fight and set up, as they're gonna have Zera playing, you know, can't really figure out exactly what he wants to play. He's gonna land on staying on that Tracer. Yikes gonna have another nano boost online. This is looking pretty bad for YSL.
The nano boost on to Cyber, and they're going to put the team of YSL away. It's a locker right there for Cyber, kind of bullying right now, and they're gonna get a touch from Zero, but manually, because who else would it be? Takes down Magic Mateyball, and it's probably Zero that's on the point right now, and with Cyber going down, it's going to be rough for Yikes moving forward. Proto taking a lot of damage. They have this rally if they want to invest it, and they will, but manually is dead here. They're going to get the armor, but it might not be worth it. Here's the pulse bomb, sticks onto the backside of Infected Shield. YSL, they stay alive here on Village.
And it's gonna come to this fight. What a big anti-nade, forcing out the immortality field.
Here we go. The Primal Rage is going to help take down Azrif, and Venus taking so much damage, and the window comes out from Venus, but it's too little, too late. Cyber cannot get it done. Here is the Flux, basically just a celebration. It picks up Jimmicle, but that will be YSL taking the ball.
But that was nowhere near as easy as I think YSL was hoping that to be. Both points coming down to the wire, and if we're being honest, Yikes probably had a really good chance and probably should have won those 2 points. But YSL was able to come through with a lot of the talent and clutch factor that they bring, and they were able to make things happen with pure pick potential and just talent flowing through those players. So if you're YSL, you gotta be careful, because Yikes has this team synergy on lock, and Proto is dismantling their team with those anti-nades.
Yeah, and then you can't talk about how well Yikes played on that map. Obviously, we'll get to YSL. They played very, very well. Obviously, nothing taking away from their win. Manually, if you let manually continue to take over the lobby like we just saw them do, it's going to be a rough day. I mean, that map was insanely close. The 2-0 was, you know, not as you know, far apart as you would expect it to be. I think both points were like high 80s, 90s to 100 for YSL. I mean, Yikes is hot on their heels, and YSL, they took the first map. They can't let themselves get too ahead of themselves, right? We talk about it all the time. Arrogance versus confidence, and if you let yourself get arrogant, you're gonna get bit. And Yikes, they've got some teeth.
Could not agree more, and they will get the map pick coming into this next map, so that definitely has to be a very good feeling. They can bring it to a map to where they can play the compositions they want to play. My big question is, we saw them be very good on the Winston compositions. And to me, that would say like, a Numbani, for
Numbani.
example, where you play more dive, right? But Infected is also known for having an extremely talented Winston. When he was on O3 Splash in the last cycle of Contenders, it seemed like every time they played, they were going to Numbani and they had Infected on that Winston. So I know this team's going to be extremely prepared for that. So I'm just curious where Yikes is going to want to take this.
Yeah, I mean, I do kind of expect Numbani, right? That being said, I mean, okay, I expect Numbani simply because they forced Winston on a map where Winston is not that good, and they ran it very, very close. Obviously, I do believe YSL has a great dive. I don't doubt that even a little bit, but Yikes, they have to play into what they're good at. And if that's the dive, play into it. Comfortability is important. If you're not comfortable on the Sigma that's meta right now, which, a lot of teams aren't, you got to do what it takes to win. And we did see YSL come out on a little bit of a dive themselves on the Doomfist on Shrine. So, there are a few looks that I could see YSL coming out on, but if we do go to Numbani, which is what I'm leaning towards, yeah, so we did get confirmation just now. Yikes does pick Numbani.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's not
Okay,
a surprise. Wait, is
okay.
it?
No, it's Blizzard World. It's Blizzard World. Okay, so we got lied to, and we lied to y'all because we got lied to. Thanks, Boom. Ugh. That's okay. We love you, Boom. But yeah, it'll be Blizzard World, so I kind of expect more Sigma here.
As yeah, I definitely think it's going to be a map full of Sigma, but I do think the Winston is definitely viable. We saw even some of the teams in the World Cup going more dive oriented on this particular map. It opens up the game for the double flex support, even if you're playing the Sigma composition. This is where we see teams like to pull out the BAP Alari combination. So very excited to see. And this map's way more conducive to hit scan players. So I'm like very excited to see the likes of Zera pulling out that hit scan.
And for that matter, manually.
Oh yeah, manually too was insane on that Sojourn.
So like this, I feel like these long sight lines that we have on Blizzard World, these hit scan players probably going to be playing that Sojourn, if I had to guess. I mean, we saw these players, they did so well, but it's actually going to be Zero reprising their role on the Hanzo here, and YSL, they're going to be happy to run out on the Sigma here in the face of Yikes, who are going to come out on attack, probably going to run this Winston dive, and manually hasn't picked yet, but I can assume that they're going to actually be going head-to-head with Azrif here on the Sojourn.
Is YSL going extremely classic, and they are going with more of that double flex support. They're gonna have Z-Man play that BAP, Magic Meatball play that Brig, lots of healing, lots of protection available to the team. Zera back on that Hanzo. I really like that on this map. For Yikes, it looks like they're gonna stick to their guns, and they are going to play the Winston. And a lot of the players on YSL are diveable, Zera, Azrif, but you have to get on top of them, and YSL is running a lot of protection with the Brig, Immortality Field, Accretion Rock. You got to be careful.
I mean, this fight's already over for YSL. Yikes, they've lost these players in Cyber, taking arrow after arrow. Yikes, they just haven't found, they didn't find an answer there in that first fight. Zera took over.
Yeah, Zera's like, look, I'm just going to end this fight before you can even start to think. As bubble out, so that's going to be dangerous for Cyber. You're not going to be able to push the effort coming to this next fight, as Slater is looking for an opportunity to get a dive onto someone.
Cyber is getting very, very aggressive. Even going down one, he's confident that they wouldn't die. And you need to be careful with Zera behind you. Those storm arrows are so good. I mean, the guy is insane. And there we go. I mean, they need that. It just kind of feels like they haven't found an actual dive target. They haven't jumped on it.
Well, also the problem is there's just so much healing available between packs that Magic 8 Ball can throw, proccing that Inspire, the amount of heals Z-Man can pump out on the BAP, and then you have Immortality Field if things get rough. Because Slater made an honest attempt at that dive with Cyber and got a bunch of targets low, but the healing just came in before they could finish off any of these targets. So you're going to need more focus fire. Slater and Cyber's not going to be enough to get those kills.
Built up the Nanoboot as the Dragon Strike is going to come out. I'm curious which one is going to come out as the Nano Winged or the Nano Blade. Will be the Nano Blade in the option. Cyber gets punished. I mean, don't have that Nano Blade ready to go, and I mean, it was too early. And Slater gets punished for the Hubris thinking, hey, I'll build up to the Nano or the Dragon Blade, and right now, yikes, they're left reeling.
I don't even think that was the issue. Before Slater could even do anything, Cyber was down. The focus fire from YSL was just too great, and they only used 2 ultimates in that fight. 2 for 1, I think you'll take that if you're YSL, especially on the defensive end. And now this blade for Slater is not going to have the impact you're hoping for.
Getting back into this next fight, Cyber is just getting chunked down so fast. Azra and Zira and Infected, they're all being so, like, they're just not missing, right? I mean, they're finding so much value, so much damage. Here we go. I mean, manually just found the first pick for Yikes, and as Jimmical comes in to clean it up, Yikes, they found their footing, and all it took was 4 ultimates.
Hey, but you get some positive momentum going your way. You're gonna get that first point, so you will take it if you're Yikes. Because I feel like with the mentals and getting first point held, that was not an option. As who cares if you had to use all the ultimates there? Proto's close to a nano anyway. But these next fights are going to be very tough. YSL just played the smart, patient way. They're going to be able to hold this corner, and they're going to have ults to work with. So, you know, all things considered, YSL just went for the smart play.
Slater is taking a lot of damage up there on the turret. I mean, everybody from Yikes. They're just getting, they're receiving the arrows from Zira and the shots from Azra. It's just so much damage, and Yikes, until that overclock from manually opened it up, they haven't been able to blow anything wide open. I mean, they've got to get a fight going, a real fight, and without manually, it just won't happen. Zira, once again, taking out the Sojourn early, and YSL, they now have 5 ultimates in the bank. Yikes only 1, as Yikes, they're trying to stay in this fight as the Nano Boost comes out on to Cyber, and Slater is able to find Magic 8 Ball, dash through, and finally, Yikes, they only needed the 1 ultimate, and I mean, they'll build up pretty close to a few more here. So Yikes, they realize that maybe the Nano Blade isn't what they want, and you know, the Nano Winston is.
Yeah, you're able to capitalize on a lot of the, because you're playing split if you're YSL with these hit scans, so it's going to make that so much easier. Now they're going to commit the rally and the Dragons.
Yeah, Slater not able to get away from the Dragon Strike, going right into that ultimate, and Yikes, they respond fiercely with a couple of ultimates from Magic 8 Ball, Zira, and Venus, and they found their hold here. They're not going to let it go easily.
At 1 minute, just about 1 minute left on the clock for Yikes. They're going to be coming up on a lot of ultimates, as we see Zera now making a swap off the Hanzo, going to go over to the Tracer, adds an ability of a dive available to get on top of these supports and not let them allow to just free fire and heal.
Infected and Azra have their ultimates here. Yikes is going to have 3 of their own. The dive is going to come out from Cyber, but Magic 8 Ball just going to push the Winston away as Infected building up to that Gravitic Clutch. Probably going to use it here very, very soon. On Cyber, and we're going to see exactly that. Actually, pick up Slater to get slammed down. Half HP instantly healed up by Proto and Jimmical. The juggles are excellent from Cyber, and I mean, Magic 8 Ball is in a lot of trouble. Gonna get back into spawn and say, hey, I'm Cyber's gonna go back to T1. I don't want to die here, and it'll be yikes. They have found their footing here on their attack, and good pick there from Poda.
Yeah, I mean, once again, you'd say it cost them a lot of ultimates, but they forced out a lot from YSL. They got Azareth to use the overclock. You got Infected to use the Flux. So, I mean, yes, you're going to be at a slight disadvantage for these next couple of fights, but if you just play patient, get some of these ults out of YSL, you're looking at a good chance to finish this map.
Nano boost onto Cyber. Venus is already dead. Mateball cannot get back to the Mega. Goes down, and I mean, you know, since that Nano Blade came out, or the attempted Nano Blade, I feel like the Nanos onto Cyber have just been, excuse the electric.
Yeah, as Infected's now going to go over to the Orisa, which I like this play, especially going up against the Winston. Those javelins can be devastating to disrupt what Cyber's trying to do, and you just have a lot more beefiness available to, I mean, Orisa is not diveable at all, basically.
They have to focus on Mateball or Venus, but they're being protected by Azra, who's also switched over to the Bastion, and it'll be a trade here. Mateball for Chemical. The Briggs are going to go down. The Dragon Blade comes out, and Zira! Fatal away death onto Slater. I mean, what a play by the Sojourn. 3.8 meters, but only 7 seconds left. I mean, it's over here for Yikes on the attack. But all things considered, with how slow they started, you'll take the 108 meters on C.
Yeah, I think that's a really good distance for Yikes to be able to clear, as both teams have their clear win conditions. We talk about how dangerous going down 2-0 can be, so Yikes just has to make sure they don't allow YSL to get more than 108.32 meters. But YSL, if they really want to put that pressure, they really want to make it back to the grand finals and get their revenge on Bonsai Buddies, this is going to be crucial. Just take all the momentum that Yikes has built up and just throw it back at them and be like, look, you had a great attack, but our attack's gonna be greater, and just get at their mental. Don't let them back in the series.
Big damage for YSL. Azareth reprising their role on the Bastion here. You know, came out late on that defense with the Bastion and Orisa, but they're gonna play the Sigma here on the attack, as well Yikes actually. So this is the first time since they got bullied in the first fight of Nepal that we're seeing the Sigma from Yikes. So I'm definitely interested to see how this is gonna work for them.
Yeah, I mean, I like the swap on third point for YSL for Azareth to go over to that Bastion, especially going against a Winston. The question is, are they going to look to continue to play that when they see Yikes is playing this more defensive poke-style composition with the Sigma? Because the Bastion, I mean, there's not a lot for him to easily shoot at. I mean, really, you're just going to look to chunk down the Sigma and maybe hopefully get a good angle on the hit scans, but it's going to be tough sledding for a Bastion into this.
YSL onto the point, and I mean, it's already been opened by Zira here. 2 picks for the Sojourn, make that 3 for Zira. I mean, has put this fight away. 4 for Zira to end the fight, and I mean, the aggression, Yikes just had no idea what to do.
Yeah, as now things can get dangerous, you got to make sure you get out of here. Scott's free. You can't allow them to continue to find these stragglers. They're just going to get so much free cart distance, but they're pretty much sandwiching and trapping. Manually goes down.
I mean, they knew that Yikes had a good attack here. So YSL, they're, like you said, they want to have a better one. I mean, 5 minutes on the clock. Zira does go down. A good accretion from the Cyber to take down the Sojourn. But I mean, they're pushed so far back right now that YSL, they're just getting this free card push. In fact, they're taking some the headshots from Froda, a lot of damage from the Iari here, and they're gonna kill the Bastion. So Yikes, they're gonna find some footing on this attack for the first time, and with Infected being sectioned off from the rest of the team, it's going to be tough for YSL to do anything else here. But as I say that, Zira has taken down Slater, and there are 3 people cornered in the room over there. I mean, you thought that this fight was over, but Zira has an overclock ready to go whenever they want it, and they're still fighting on the high ground. The Nexus experience is where they're fighting from. I mean, this fight should have ended a long time ago, and here's the overclock from Zira. The Cactus Sun comes out, and it misses entirely for Proto. The overclock not going to quite find a target here for Zira, but I mean, YSL, they've just continued to push the cart as the Dragon Strike came out from Slater. It doesn't matter because they keep finding picks, and what the hell just happened? Yikes just crumbled.
Yeah, so the pressure from Zera on that overclock forced really good positioning for YSL, because Yikes had to basically retreat and get out of LOS of that overclock. So then you're able to take really good spots. It allows Cyber to not get much value out of their flex. Infect is able to return that in full, and then Z-Man can set up on the high ground with his window. As now they're going to have 5 minutes to match and win this point.
It's going to be rough for Yikes here, especially because they only have the overclock. At YSL, they're building up their DPS here. So 4.5 minutes, they've got a big overclock, and Manually is going to try to open it up with the overclock. Targets are not there. The immortality field is going to come out wide. Manually takes a headshot, but Slater is actually going to be the one that follows up on the damage. It will be a Genji duel for both of these teams now, and with the conclusion on the Yikes, for Yikes that is, YSL, they just fall over, but they're not scared just yet. They still got 4 minutes.
Yeah, Azeroth will have the blade available, and there's like no rally available for Jimmicle, so you have a window of opportunity to try and get a lot of value out of this window, but the Ant Matrix is going to start things off.
Speaking of window of opportunity, here we go. Proto puts out the amplification matrix, and YSL very, very smartly, they're just going to say, hey, we don't need to fight right now, and the accretion is only barely going to miss right under the feet of Cyber, and Infected gets turned to a grease stain on the ground. An early pick there onto Infected will push YSL back, and they don't need to take the Infected right now, but they will. They're not done. They don't care that Infected is dead. Infected's already back. Mateball with that speed boost is going to be happy to bring the Sigma back into the fight as the rally comes out for Jimmicle. Gonna stun up Mateball and Infected. I mean, that rally armor is going to be a problem here soon, as YSL, they're gonna rotate to this mega room over here, and we're gonna see the Dragon Blade from Slater gonna cut down Venus. I mean, 3 for Slater with the dry Dragon Blade, and I mean, Azrath is gonna find 2, but it simply doesn't matter. Proto cleans up the Genji. Yikes, stay alive. 2 minutes, 40 left for YSL.
Things are looking so far so good for Yikes. Trying not to caster curse them because there's so much time left on the clock for YSL. Now they're going to be able to come in. Z-Man has this window.
It's just going to be a quick and dirty fight for YSL. Slater is able to take down Mateball, so if they want to push the aggression, they can moving forward.
One final fight for Yikes to try and stop this, but look at all the ultimates YSL are coming on with. Manuelly's got to hit good with the overclock.
And, I mean, the flux is going to be good for a couple for Infected, but Cyber is going to stay alive somehow or another. Proto using the Ant Matrix is going to help them push YSL back for the time being. They have this Gravitic Flux, and Magic Mateball just died out of beat! Yikes! They are ecstatic for that fact, as the Gravitic Flux puts Infected below half HP. And this is getting scarier and scarier for the side of YSL. Infected all alone goes down. I mean, they're down to 1:20.
Wow. Yikes holds strong. Slater's gonna have the blade. Jimical has the rally. But if you're YSL, the goal is going to be force out both of these ultimates in this next fight, and then you'll be able to come in final fight and be able to use at least the amplification matrix. So I feel like that's gonna be the goal right now. Take a dry fight and force out both these ultimates.
Slater is 0 on the high count, but Soda is so very low. Trying to get that healing from him here is the rally. Gonna give them that armor. The immortality skill has been expended. Infected and Zera stunned up by the shield bash as the Ant Matrix came out from Venus. Now, Yikes is just gonna walk away from it. They're like, this doesn't matter. We're just gonna run away from it. We're not gonna let you get the value out of it. In 30 seconds left, Yikes has the only ultimate on the field.
Yeah, as this blade can go strong for Slater, and Azra's down.
Here's the Dragon Blade for Slater, but Slater receives a rock to the face. Infected takes down the Genji, has the Gravitic Flux. Soda has built up to this Ant Matrix, going to use it early. Here is the Flux. Going to avoid it is the Sigma of Cyber, and Proto, despite being stunned up, is going to use that Ant Matrix. I mean, this fight could go either way, and they don't touch the point!
Wait, what? What?
Play of the game.
There's no way. There is absolutely no way that just happened. That is ridiculous. I'm in shock and disbelief.
All right, I'm gonna talk from down here for a second. I need to catch my breath. YSL, I mean, Yikes had that locked. Like, that fight was going in their way. I mean, they had a pick, and they just backed off. That is the classic C9. That is everybody alive, and you just don't touch the point.
It's just baffling, man. I feel like you probably could have won that if you were Yikes. It'd be 1-1 right now. That is just so gut-wrenching, so heartbreaking. And with how close these first two maps have been, one has to hope that this doesn't mentally boom them, because I think they have a chance to really fight back in this series.
I mean, they have been fighting back, just mistakes. They're making more mistakes than YSL, and you know, granted, the mistakes that they're making aren't like agreed. That one was egregious, obviously, but for the most part, when they're like making these mistakes, they're small mistakes, and that's usually what it is. It's micro stuff when you're in these high level lobbies. It's usually not the big dreadful mistakes that we just saw right at the end there. And for Yikes, I mean, they've been playing very, very well. YSL and Yikes are basically on the same level at the moment. But YSL has just done a better job at taking advantage of those mistakes and putting Yikes away. So we're going to cut to a break, and when we come back, we will see if Yikes, can they come back from this? Welcome back, everybody. We're not gonna talk. Well, actually, yeah, we will talk about the debauchery that just happened on Blizzard World. I mean, yikes! Had YSL on the ropes. They were up a player in the fight. They just didn't touch the point. And those mistakes, they're gonna cost you. Like that one obviously cost them the map entirely. But the mistakes that I've seen throughout the series for Yikes, they've added up, and you know they obviously culminated in the C9 at the end of Blizzard World, but they have been very very good all series for the most part, and they can beat YSL. I think they have the capabilities, but if they want to do that, they have to be able to curb those mistakes.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, they only get one more crack at it, or they will be headed home. We have the map pick coming in from Yikes. We're headed to Saravasa.
Yeah, and this is the popular one, right? Yikes, they're happy to stick with the status quo. Going to Saravasa, they can basically do whatever they want, but I kind of expect the Sigma still. I mean, the Sigma just lends itself so well to this map. The straight lines for the most part. I mean, you see right here on Garden. There's just, they're narrow, but they're definitely straight lines. And the Winston could work, I guess, but I don't think it's as nearly as effective here on Saravasa.
Yeah, and I think back, I mean, we've seen both teams play the Sigma, so and that's going to be very viable on Saravasa, but we've seen YSL play basically, generally speaking, two compositions. We saw Infected come out on the Orisa in a last-ditch effort against the Winston, but the two main compositions they've played are the Doomfist dive and the Sigma poke, or slash brawl. And I think both of these compositions lend itself very well to the Saravasa map as we take a look at these teams and we see Yikes coming out on that Sigma composition that we saw them play back on Nepal on Shrine, as YSL looking like highlighting like they want to play that Doomfist.
4, 3.
Yeah, and that could definitely work. It worked. It's a very, very good composition here on
Initial
Saravasa.
flashpoint. Mark it.
So, I mean, getting into this fight, it's once again the Doomfist versus the Sigma that, Yikes, they backed off the last time that this matchup happened. So we'll see if it happens again as we get into this first fight here on Market.
Unlocks in 10 seconds.
Venus is taking a very interesting offense right now. Proto and Manually take a little bit of a slam punch from Infected. Doomfist is walled off. He's going to get away here. Below half HP, Infected will survive. But it looks like Yikes is going to take this first flip. Infected receives an empowered punch, gifted straight from Cyber's rock. But nobody's gone down yet. Venus has rejoined YSL, and the healing is great for both teams right now. There's just not enough damage coming through for either team to have definitively won the first fight. Jimical receives a headshot there from, some shots there from Azure, I assume. I mean, it's just looking like neither team is ceding anything here. YSL's gonna take the flip, but still, nobody is dead. Here is the Amp Matrix from Rhoda. Responded to by the Nano Boost on to Infected. The anti-grenade hits Manually. Punched out of the Immortality Zone will be traded. Infected gun find 2. So finally, the picks are rolling through for YSL. They're going to take the lead here as this fight comes to a close. Cyber is anti. Azrev gets picked out on the at the end of the fight. But if you're Jimmy, you just have to get out there.
Yeah, the dives working really well, and Z-Man is getting really big anti-nades, and it's affecting a lot of these fights. And you use both your support ultimates if you're Yikes. You get to come into this next fight. I like that you're going to have the flux available, but so much mobility available for these DPS. You're going to have to look to go after these supports. As Magic 8 Ball getting very close to the rally, you got to get it and use this fast.
Slater pressured by Zira. And oh my goodness, what a sleep by Venus. Jimical goes it down in the back line to Zira. And at 95%, this is looking like it's gonna go in the way of YSL. The overclock more of a punctuation than anything here, as you know, Azref didn't really find anything with it, but it doesn't matter. YSL, they take the flip back right from Yikes. 99%, they're gonna take market.
And you thought, you know, from that first fight, Yikes was absolutely dominating with that Sigma. Infected wasn't able to find picks early and often, but YSL perseveres. Azref able to find some rail shots. You know, Z-Man gets the good anti-nades, and they're able to come through with the goods. Yikes gets to come back to this next point, and you're going to have a Blizzard available as the Pulse Bomb comes out and misses.
I'm not going to find a target, but Zera will. The Blizzard gonna come out from Slater, freezes up Venus. The peel is good for the most part, as Venus will go down. Magic Mateball did invest the rally, unfortunately for Yikes, or for YSL, sorry. But this is a duel, just an absolute MMA fight going on over here with Manually and Jimical versus Infected. Yikes, they're going to regress that point progress that YSL got. They'll take the flip, but they won't find Infected.
I was actually pretty surprised YSL was able to get out of that. Zera's not able to get out of that. Slater finds the headshot as YSL has to go back to the spawn room. You cannot push this. Zera Infected's going to have a hard time finding dives, but Azref gets Manually.
I think we've well established that YSL is not scared even if they've lost a person throughout this entire series, and Azref and Zera, they find one each, and like, it just doesn't matter. They will take a fight if they want to take a fight.
As that is now Zera going over to the Soldier 76. Point flip comes in for YSL. It costs them their nano, so you're relying on Azref to get a very well-timed overclock in this next fight, because Yikes, they're coming with a lot in their bank to be able to flip this point, and at 58%, it could mean a lot if they get this point flip and more point percentage going.
Here's the nano boost on it to Cyber. Magic Mayfall, the one that is being pressured out. I mean, the nano boost is going to be big here. Cyber has to pop the primal raid. Unfortunately, investing that get out of jail free card. Luckily, they only need one more fight, and Manually will go down. Should get back quick though, but they do still need one more fight.
It costs them every single one of their ultimates, so YSL should be able to get back into this fight, re-engage. Question is, do they elect to take the fight? You're going to have Rally, you're going to have Meteor Strike. It looks like they do want to go after this.
I mean, they'll take a fight if they want to take a fight. And it's worked out well for them all series here. The Meteor Strike from Infected is going to help them find Slater out early. The Tactical Visor going to be a nightmare for Manually. I mean, Zera and Magic Mateball, they have opened this fight up. And, hey, you know, everybody got a piece of Yikes in that fight. YSL, they're going to take over.
And you're able to keep the rally for Magic Mateball, which is going to be a key tool coming to this next fight. Z-Man should build up to the nano. So for Yikes to tie up 1-1 on Saravasa, Manually's got to come through with an overclock. We've seen it previously on Blizzard World. Can they do it again?
One more fight to decide. Ruins the rally. Comes out early from Magic Mateball. Gonna be building up that rally armor for the team. Not able to take down Jimical. So they still have that sound barrier, and it'll be used, but it only hits Crota and Jimical. Mateball receives the nano boost from Venus, and Venus and Antied and dead! The overclock from Manually, though, it just doesn't get anything done. The Pulse Bomb going to find two for Slater! The Tracer is going to put this fight away for Yikes, and it's just Infected. And finally, Slater with 4. Yikes will finally win a fight being down.
Slater coming through in the 11th hour with a massive pulse bomb to keep the mentals of Yikes alive and going well. Now they can breathe just a little bit easier. You come into Palace, you're going to have this nano to work with. You'll build up to the primal rage, and Slater's already found Zera.
The dive's electric right now for Yikes. They found their groove. With Zera going down, that is a lot of damage. Zera's actually going to switch over, but a massive anti-grenade from Venus is not going to do anything, actually, as they juggle Venus into a corner there, and Mayball under a lot of pressure, but, I mean, somehow, Cyber is able to stay alive? 100 HP in a dream, has to jump out. The damage reduction big from the nano boost, going to keep the Winston alive. Yikes. They are still alive and fighting right now. They will they will live to see another day, but they let the flip come through. That is unfortunate for Yikes as Zera gets jumped on. You know, the Tracer, she's quick. She's one of those characters that's able to just leave a fight if she wants to. And Zera, he will do just that. I mean, everybody's taking so much damage right now from the side of Yikes. The overclock from Azra is going to put this fight away. And Zera with 2, he is absolutely dominating on this Tracer right now.
Got the pulse bomb out of Slater. Don't have to worry about that. Manually, he's now going to swap. Gonna go over to the Sojourn. Now you're in a position where Jimical can provide a lot of value with the sound barrier. You just gotta make sure you don't let Zera get a pulse bomb.
Oh my god! Zera with an incredible pulse bomb onto Proto. Yikes. I mean, they're gonna elect to disengage here, but they don't have a lot of time. YSL already at 90%, and it will be Slater you see up there at the top of the point on Palace, going to get the touch. Gonna blink on, so overtime will be activated for Yikes. Infected taking a lot of damage. That empowered punch not gonna come through. The power block not going to help, and the nano boost once again onto Magic Mayball, going to provide durability, provide the protection, and the YSL, they come out on top of Market slowly but surely. Cyber will get another touch and will receive a nano boost. Actually did get slept there, but it almost just, the nano boost was decent, but there was no follow-up, and so Yikes, they fall on Palace, and it's one more point for YSL to take the series.
So that last fight, we saw a lot of the YSL teamwork coming through strong. It was a great dive onto Azura, but the nano boost came in, and then the follow up with the anti-nade and the peel from the rest of YSL with Infected. So their teamwork is really starting to shine through. We talked about how talented they are, but now we're seeing the teamwork come through as Zera wins that Tracer duel.
What a play by Zera to open up this fight, and Cyber going to take a little bit of that chunk damage, but the only player on the side of Yikes that can tank that pulse bomb. YSL with Slater going down, they were able to take the flip here. Not much resistance from Yikes. Infected wants to get back in and fight before anything can happen for Yikes. The primal rage is going to come out, and Cyber, the backhand will be good to find Venus despite the sleeve, and once again, I mean, it just feels like Yikes, they find an early pick, but YSL, they just shake it off, and they send Yikes packing.
Yeah, Zera is doing a great job at bothering Slater. In the previous points, we saw Slater getting a lot of values. We see the overclock being pumped, but the nano pulled onto Cyber. Is it going to be enough?
I mean, it doesn't look like it, right? I mean, there's a lot of damage coming out from that pulse bomb, I guess. Great pulse bomb onto Magic Mayball, and Slater is going to be, the sole reason that this point stays alive if it does. But the side of Yikes, they're all so very, very low, and that will probably do it with Proto going down. The nano boost comes out onto Infected posthumously from Venus, and Slater with another is going to be able to keep the fight going, but for not much longer. That will do it. Yikes falls on Saravasa. YSL, they're going back to the grand finals.
I just can't end this match and be remiss without giving Yikes some huge credit. Those first two maps were insanely close. They could have gone either way. That C9 was so unfortunate, and YSL just found a way to clutch up and find the picks in crunch time on Nepal, but we easily could have been at 2-1 in favor of Yikes at this point. So huge shout outs to them, as this is the end for them. As congrats to YSL, they punched their ticket into the grand finals while Bonsai Buddies are waiting for them.
You know, you say that this could easily be a 2-1 towards Yikes. It could just as easily be a 2-1 for Yikes, right?
That's what I was saying.
Well, okay, yeah, I was saying, you know, they could have taken Servosov, which they could have. But, I mean, yeah, this match was so close. That 3-0 score, it doesn't tell anything, right? I mean, Yikes, they laid it all out on the line, but some crucial mistakes. I mean, it just put the dagger in them, right? I mean, we could just as easily be saying Yikes is going to the grand finals right now. I mean, Nepal was so close that this could have been a 3-0 for Yikes. All three of these maps could have gone towards Yikes. That is how close that this series was. But at the end of the day, YSL, they just were the more clutch team.
Yeah, they came through when it mattered most, and that's the big reason why they are moving on to the grand finals. So congratulations to YSL. We will see you, I'm assuming sometime this week, as we are rounding out the end of this CGL cycle. But that's going to pretty much wrap things up for us on the desk. Thank you, Fletch, for casting. Thank you, everyone in the chat, for tuning in. And thank you, everyone who is behind the scenes producing. Boom on the production. And then we had Knock on Wood and Mara holding it down for the observing. But with that, we are going to end the stream, and we will see you guys on another production. See you guys later.
Thank you.